So we had to redo the inner fender here, unfortunately, because I had some trouble installing it at first because for some reason I didn't know that the frame at the time was bent. So we had a little discrepancy between the length of the left side and the length of the passenger side. So now we've drilled all the spot welds and measured everything correctly, and then we can start straightening the frame. Some nice progress here. The big dent that was here is now flat, and now we're pulling the other dent on the other side here. The frame is now a lot straighter than it was.
The Mustang spent about 2 days at the body shop called La Carrosserie, where they straightened the frame and reassembled the old parts that were already welded in place. In hindsight, it would have been easier to replace that whole left section of the engine bay with a part that I didn't know at the time was available. It's a part that costs maybe around $600. It comes with the 3 inner fenders, including the chock towers and the frame section. As they say, hindsight's always 20/20. also gained a lot of experience watching and talking to a pro working on the car. I get better every week. I read a lot of stuff. I watch YouTube. But talking to a real pro in real time is priceless. So the car is back now, safe and sound. Thankfully nothing bad happened, but those caster wheels in front are held by tack welds and it's not very sturdy, and I'm quite frankly tired of having to deal with them. So I think it's time to put the car on the rotisserie right now. A rotisserie is basically how it sounds. It's a device that has a pivot point in the front and the back of the car and allows it to spin. So it allows you to spray or work on the other side of the car without actually being under the car, which makes the job a lot easier. This one is a very heavy duty one, quite too big for my liking and for the job that we have to do, but it was close to us and fairly cheap, so we took it. This summer was quite a busy one. As the hot and sunny days went by, I slowly began to realize that project was gonna take longer than I thought. So the plan is to clean all that surface rust. I'm not gonna bother doing a really good paint job on this, it's just to make it better looking and to protect it a little bit. I chose this John Deere green, which I think is appropriate. So those two pieces are what will hold the car, one at the front, one at the rear, and they will pivot inside that little ring there. Those tires are not in great shape, obviously. As long as they roll sufficiently, I think we'll be fine. Turns out things are not always as good as they seem. Between work, family, the Mustang, and editing these videos, I've had very little time left for anything else. That summer kept us busy for sure, both physically and mentally. Time will tell if it was a good thing or not. Which leads me to explain why we're doing this right now. Last February, my mother passed away tragically. She was 60 years old, and losing her was as brutal as it was unexpected. She suffered from a ruptured aneurysm next to her heart that no one detected. As I said earlier, things are not always as good as they seem. My parents were together for just over 40 years. So the idea behind this project was to keep us occupied while grief and time slowly eased the pain. It's also an excuse to spend more time with my father, and filming it was the best way for me to create memories that time couldn't erase, something I sadly have way too little of with my mom. edit more content every week, I realize these videos are both a diary of our lives, open to whoever it might be of interest, and a constant reminder that life these days has a way of making our minds stranger to the fact that it is short, unfair, and unpredictable. The only thing left to do is make the best you can with the cards you're being dealt, and that is what I'm trying to do. Still emotionally charged to talk about it, and I went back and forth in my mind about whether to talk about it or not, but it is part of the project. It is the main reason why this happened, why this project exists, why I'm documenting it. It is the catalyst of the whole thing, so I had to explain it. Yes, it is crazy. It is expensive. But the end result has no price tag. One thing is for sure, we don't know how much time we have left on this earth. And I think most people who experience what we're going through would agree, regret is what sticks with you the longest. I don't know how many people will end up on this channel, but now you guys know the context and why I'm doing this. I'm not a pro trying to give advice to people. I'm just trying to learn as I go and maybe inspire some people to get out of their comfort zone and do something challenging.
I want to have a lever here to control the rotation with some kind of a stopper. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna do it. Memory card is almost full, so probably gonna do it off camera. But you can see final result. It's a little bit tilted on the front end, but I'm happy the way it is. Alright, I've done some modifications off camera, some basic safety features. So I've added this bar here with a pin there to lock the car in a vertical position. Same thing with these two they have basically the same role, but on the horizontal side of things, and this lever that helps me spin the car, roll the car, without having to, be around the car or inside, which can be dangerous. It's pretty standard, but it tends to want to roll on the passenger side. I think that's because there's less weight. There's a strut rod bracket here missing, and the wheelhouse and the quarter panel. I don't know if that's enough to make a difference, but I think that's what makes it spin on this side. But it's really not enough that you can't stop it with your bare hands if it starts rolling. So it's pretty close to center. So yeah, this is the underside of the car. As you can see, there's still the red oxide from the factory. So that's really good. It means
I don't know how much time it will take to finish that car, and it doesn't really matter, because it's as much about the journey than the destination. Wherever my mom might be right now, I know she's probably cursing at all the junk that fills her basement, but I know she'd be okay, knowing that we're not alone through this.